Hello everybody, it's the September 2024 garden update. Here's what we're looking like this month. The clearance bed is doing pretty well. Come down here to the moonflowers. They are going to be blooming here pretty soon. I'll attach a picture here to show what they look like at night. Here's a look at the moonflowers when their blooms are open. And one more over here. This pink Turk's cap is blooming pretty well. Let's look at one of the blooms. Even the new Rose of Sharon's got a bloom, so that's pretty cool. More moonflowers, more buds. The garlic chives are blooming, so that's pretty cool. And the herb garden is kind of just sitting here doing its thing. While we're here, let's do a temp check. It's about 64 degrees. Feeling good. First morning of a moderate cool down. Typically this time of morning it's closer to 80, so this feels a heck of a lot better. Let's take a look at the citronella and hollyhocks. Looks like the hollyhocks are continuing to rebound. I could probably cut down the longer stalks at any time. Citronella's doing okay. Here's the little okra plant that could. As you recall, had some seed get spilled and one rolled down here, sprouted and grew just fine. Getting a few okra pods off of this one. Now for the little flower bed by the lean-to. Again, not many blooms right now, but I suspect that will change. Got some plants kind of fizzling out this time of year, but the coleus are doing just wonderful. Let's take a look at the ground cover. Doing its thing. A little ragged. I've trimmed it up a little bit. Probably do a little better job. AC is not running today because it's 63, 64 degrees. It already feels nice and cool. You'll see what I got going here in just a little bit. This Turk's cap I nursed back to health, and it got plenty tall this year, so happy to see that. Lots of hummingbirds visiting and enjoying these red flowers. Up next is the flower bed by my workshop. As you can see, the coleus plants have generally taken over the spot, but that's okay. They do look nice and they thrive here, so that's all I care about. It has cooled down and I was able to get out here and pull some weeds yesterday, so this flower bed on the south side of the property is looking good, also known as my test bed. Here's a quick update. I've already recorded the garden update for September 2024, but my Crinum is going to bloom for the first time. I bet I planted that 10 years ago. First time it's bloomed. Got my first blooms. Pretty cool. So that's great to see. Hopefully I get more next time. Some plants have perished and others are thriving. These yellow marigolds dried up and fizzled out, so I just went ahead and pulled those out yesterday. This Coravinca plant is doing absolutely wonderful. Got some cone flowers that look like they're on the rebound. Hopefully these zinnias will start blooming again pretty soon. And everything's just doing wonderful. A good morning here. Looks like we got some bloom activity here. And I'm going to have to give this a dose of Super Thrive. But it is blooming a little bit. And look at this end, got some sunflowers blooming. all good. It's time to take a look at this back part of the garden. Got some black-eyed peas here and there. Probably get a couple more harvest off of them. Plenty of okra. Be picking some okra when I get done with this video. But not too much longer on the okra. It's going to start cooling down and they're going to really start shutting down. They are a hot weather crop. There's these volunteer marigolds that are still hanging on by just barely, but hopefully when we get these cool mornings going, they will be just fine. My fall cucumbers are coming along. I had to replant some. They were not sprouting, so don't know if a grub got them or what happened, but got some good plants coming up now, so hopefully get some good cucumbers before cold weather. And then got a lot of okra starting to lean, so probably tie that up there. That's better. Tomato plants are still going strong, getting taller and taller. And to look at this back part of the garden, as you can see, we got a little bit more tomato. Something bit that one. More tomatoes. More black-eyed peas. More okra. A little bit of tobacco hornworm damage on this one, but it'll grow back out. 4 o'clocks are open this morning. Zinnia patch is kind of fizzling out a little bit, but I think they'll be okay. Cantaloupe are starting to bloom again. And a look in this way. Got some zinnias, but they're kind of laying over. That's all right. The 4 o'clock bed is blooming a little bit. Kind of getting to end of season. There's some seed pods. What the seed looks like. Now for the main section of garden. Got some new pepper plants there. Those are going to be a surprise. My grandfather wants to do a prank, so I got him some of those going. We'll see how those progress. Here's my fall tomatoes that I had started from seed. They have really grown in a month since the last video. These black-eyed peas are starting to fizzle. More okra. That fried okra is hard to beat out of the garden. And then got some fall broccoli plants. More here. More tomatoes for the fall. And this okra plant is probably just wasting time, so I probably ought to just take it out. It's not making okra, and if it does, it's deformed and it's not doing too well. And then there's some cabbage here, a couple of cabbage plants, and then another tomato plant. Tied that big pepper plant up. That thing's probably about 6 feet, 6.5 foot tall, and it's doing awesome. Here's the flower bed on the south side of the house. The blanket flowers are doing their thing. These zinnias are looking pretty good, and then I got a milkweed flower up by the house, by the bricks. And then pan on down. Those marigolds hadn't started to bloom yet, but you come in here That's looking pretty good. We'll go take a look at that. I've got a mix of Coravinca and zinnias here that are looking pretty good. And then windows open, fan on. So that's the way to do it there on a cool morning. It feels good. I have tidied up the yellow flower bed in hopes it will bloom. This chrysanthemum plant, I've had this here several years now. The tropical plants are not blooming much now. There's a couple of red blooms back there, so it'd be great if some more would join in. My penta plants are blooming again, as well as the purple heart. More starting to bloom over here of the pentas. Starting to fill back in real nice right over here. And these Angelina plants are starting to sprout from the base again after the incident with the plumber. And then more blooms here, and sure sign fall is on the way. The oxblood lilies are blooming. Unimus bushes are looking pretty good. I started cutting out some of the dead growth. Hopefully these white chrysanthemums will be blooming pretty soon. They put on a nice show right there before time to put up Christmas lights. And likely this winter I'll be cutting these way back, because it seems like the roots just don't support them this big, so they need to cut back anyway. Hanging basket number 1, still thriving pretty well. And hanging basket number 2, doing just fine as well. This is what the flower bed in the front of the house is looking like this month. Not bad, not bad. I'm hoping these marigolds will be blooming pretty heavily by the October garden update. And a quick look at the back side of the same flower bed. Got a nice light show there. Sunlight dancing off the blossoms this morning. That's pretty cool to see. The mailbox flower bed's looking pretty good this morning. Lots of Coravinca blooming. And this chrysanthemum, hopefully it'll bloom here pretty soon. The flower bed by the north side of the property. As you can see, it's irrigating right now. Not too much going on. This one's usually in the springs when it really puts on a good show. And we'll take a good quick look at the clearance garden. The black-eyed Susan is no longer with us. I don't know what happened to that. Pretty sure that was just fine the other day. Let's check on the lawn. Little strip on the north side is pretty good. I fertilized last weekend. We got about 1.5 inches of slow, steady rain. Really helped things along. The main front yard, looking absolutely wonderful. Probably could use a mowing tomorrow. There's kind of an example of what it looks like out of the sun. Very pleased with that. The south side yard, for the 3rd month in a row, we're full of shrooms. And there's where I replaced that sprinkler head, and the grass is filled back in perfectly. A little closer look at the shrooms. A look at the backyard from this side. Lawn's looking pretty decent. Can't complain about that. Crepe myrtles are blooming pretty nicely as well. Let's take a look from this side of the backyard. Things are looking pretty good over this way as well. Been a pretty good month of September. Had some pretty good rain the first part of the month, but looks like we're going to be kind of drying out. And we'll be getting into October and all that good stuff, pressure washing the house and deep cleaning. So look forward to that for the next month. So once again, this has been September 2024 Garden Update. Thank you for watching.